what I want people to realize is your actions weren't the problem, meaning you being loving, sweet, kind, compassionate wasn't the problem. It was the person. You're choosing someone that is not capable of pouring into you the way that you need. You're basing this off of what you could do for them, and that's not sustainable. And you're choosing them because, again, you have more emotional control here. What happens to so many people, especially women, it's something that I call the unhealthy love cycle of women, where women in their first love experience, outside of any childhood trauma may have experienced, they're their most loving. They're just out there, they go all the way in. But that typically happens at a younger age, at an age where men are not mature enough to handle those kind of emotions, that level of commitment, so on and so forth. So she gets hurt. After she gets hurt, her moment is saying to herself, I will never let this happen to me again. So now the woman starts to consciously or subconsciously choose men who are, I don't want to say lower than her, but essentially a man who does not take her there. He's good enough to be with, but I'm not that vulnerable with him. He can't hurt me like that first love hurt me. And so that dynamic usually leads to picking that person I can fix, I can make better, who will appreciate and respect me. But again, it doesn't work out. And many times you'll see these same situations, the guy will move on to cheat on her. Not because, and I have to say this because some women think, yeah, he's just being a man. No, not because he's a man, but because you chose a man that you could never be the woman that he needed, and he could never be the man that you needed. Once he kind of either gets what he needs from you to build himself up, or the smoke clears from him being infatuated with you, he starts to realize, I'm not getting everything that I desire. And now the temptation gets way stronger, and he ends up doing something, or she ends up cheating as well, because he's safe, but he doesn't fulfill her, he doesn't satisfy her, he doesn't excite her in any kind of way. And that's why I always said earlier, like, the safe choice is almost always the wrong choice. But that is a function of people trying to choose these fixer-uppers because they think it's gonna give them some leverage there. I think society needs to change their thinking as far as letting go doesn't always mean it can't work out later. It's just that it cannot work out under these circumstances, all right? Because some people say, well, I feel like they're the one. Okay, maybe they are, but maybe the time is not right. And it's letting go that will allow you both to do what needs to be done in your own personal lives, that will allow you to come back together and have something way more amazing. So that's number one thing to consider. But outside of that, it's when, one, if that person is unwilling to put in the work necessary, it's time to go. There's like so many times I'll have a video go up about communication, and someone will comment saying, I've tried talking to him and he doesn't want to talk to me. And in my head, I'm like, well, why are you still with him? If he refuses to talk to you, you've already tried. There's nothing else to do. But people will let it linger on and continue while they consistently complain or are unhappy about this specific issue. It's not gonna magically get better. They're not gonna just change it just cause all of a sudden they see, oh, it needs to change. No, if they're fighting it now, they have no reason to change it. And what people have to understand, especially with this whole trying to fix people up, healing and facing your traumas is one of the hardest things for people to do. It's very tough to walk down the path of the healing process. So if they're not willing to work on it, you guys have already discussed it. And I think that's a big thing, because there's a lot of relationships that end and the couples don't even know what the real issue was. So the communication, they'll say, well, we talked about, no, you guys argued, you guys lashed out. There wasn't a clear communication as to what the problem was, what is expected, how do we go about this? If you've done that, and I believe one of the most effective ways to do that is through a letter. Because I feel like verbal communication of deep issues and concerns, they typically don't go well. People get distracted, they forget what they want to say, the other person gets defensive, they're listening to rebuttal, not to understand. But when there's a letter involved, it gives you time to get everything out. You can evaluate your tone, leave no stone unturned, and now they have an opportunity to process it on their time, to really take it in, and then you guys can come together and discuss the letter. And now it's so much easier to stay on point and get everything covered. If we've done that, and they're still unwilling or there's still no progress, it's time to go.